haven't cried yet in this process. So I'm trying to keep calm and keep my emotions regulated. I have a feeling I'll cry after the interview, just because I will just be so emotionally like overwhelmed. And I think like just proud of myself for doing it. That I will probably just release that with a bit of crying afterwards. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll be completely emotionless. With me, I'm very like, you know, I'm a Gemini. So I'm very like extremes. And I'm very unpredictable. So I think either after the interviews, I will either be like crying, full of emotions, or I will literally leave and I'll be like, well, that's over now, you know? Other than that, I will try to get some interview prep in the day if I can. I will just revisit the formulation models I've prepared for the test tonight. Okay, I just had a couple of calls and I thought it would be helpful. Obviously I'm gonna do the admin that I would normally do for it, but in terms of kind of revising for tonight, I thought I would use them as case studies to formulate through the 2 models that I've prepared. So, and you know, I don't usually take the time to do this. I mean, during the call I formulate using the 5 Ps, but it's helpful to sort of think about it in terms of theory, formulation and intervention, which I don't do on the calls. I'm not there thinking like, I'm not there necessarily thinking like, oh, this is cognitive theory here, you know, you could apply the cognitive model to this, or, you know, so it's, I think it'll be helpful to take some time to think it through, and then also to see if I can reformulate it using a different approach. So using the CFT, the compassionate mind model approach, using the 3 systems model to formulate as well. So yeah, I thought that would be helpful. Now that I've had 2 calls, this will probably form the rest of my working day, because I need to do, there's quite a bit of admin to do after you've had a call. I'm gonna finish at 4 today so that I've got a bit of time to decompress after work and just like chill out a bit before I do the test at 6 o'clock. Oh, I'm scared. No, I'm not. No, I've got this. Also, I dug up all of my old folders from uni and my textbooks. I'll give you guys a haul of that later. Okay guys, we have finished work. It's 4:10, so we have just under 2 hours until the test. You didn't get a chance to practice formulating the calls I had. Well, obviously like part of the call was me formulating, but I was gonna like properly apply the theory, the formulation and the intervention to it. So I think I'll have some time to do that now. I've got an hour and a half, so I'm thinking do a bit more practice formulating the calls I had today as examples, using the cognitive behavioral model and the compassionate mind model as sort of basis for formulation. Probably be someone's case, and then from what I've heard, it's something like that, and then you are asked to, you answer questions about what you've seen and you sort of formulate. And it can also include things like writing a letter to the patient so they can see what your writing skills are like as well, and if you're able to sort of demonstrate empathy and write well, you know, as well, and write appropriately to patients. Oh my god, you guys, I'm sweating. I've got a headache. That was a challenge. Specifically, just the time we were given for it. That was the quickest 30 minutes of my life. I feel like I could have done with an extra 10 minutes. If you had reasonable adjustments, you got 38 minutes, not 30 minutes. Oh my god, I feel absolutely drained. I can't share anything about what kind of questions came up. They asked us specifically not to, and that is kind of a general rule of like these interviews. When I've watched other people's videos, they're like, we can't really share exactly what comes up. But yeah, as I said, like we had to watch a 10-minute video of like a clinical situation, you know, like a session where they're exploring someone's difficulties, and then from that, like, you have to kind of formulate. No, it just wasn't, it just took me longer than I thought to really like reflect on the video, and you only got to watch the video once. And the thing is, like, it's not that I don't think it's that representative of like a real life example as a clinical psychologist. No, I just don't feel like that's very representative of what they asked us to do in 30 minutes. It would take you longer to do that. So yeah, I finished by the skin of my teeth. I submitted it like on the minute that it was due. I was like, oh my god, because like basically I just spent way too long like thinking, like I was basically way too calm. I was just thinking about it for so long. I was making notes, I was thinking through it, and then I looked at the time and I was like, that can't be right. I've got like 15 minutes and I hadn't answered any of the questions. You basically have to do it twice because you have to like write on a Word doc and then copy and paste it onto an online form and then email it to the person all within the time. Oh, I've literally got a headache from that. What the hell? I'm in Oxford. My interview is today because it's now 1 AM. I haven't vlogged between the online clinical task and this interview because I'm not gonna lie, I have been buried under prep and I felt too overwhelmed to even pick up the camera. But my interview is here. Oh my god, I'm in a hotel in Oxford because my interview is in the morning and I didn't want to worry about traveling on the day. 45 minutes long, so I'll be out of there by like midday. And this will all be over in 11 hours. That makes me feel sick too. My brother, I FaceTime like everyone. So I FaceTime my mum, my dad, my brother. My brother was like, well, just think like tomorrow by midday, this is all over. And I was like, no, that freaks me the fuck out. I need more time. But yeah, that is the reality. So yeah, I got here. So yeah, basically what I was saying was when I got here, I was like scrambling around. I was like, what am I gonna have for breakfast tomorrow? There aren't breakfast facilities here. Taxi's picking me up at 8 AM. Anyone who knows me personally knows I'm always late everywhere. I always take so long to get ready. So I'm gonna need to get up at like 6 AM latest. That's not a joke. I'm actually not joking. Into Tesco, which is opposite the hotel, which is handy. I picked up a croissant and a banana. And I just picked up loads of random shit. I picked up a croissant, a banana, one of those Weetabix on-the-go drinks that I've never had before, but it just seems like it's healthy. It gives you what you need, the vitamins, the fibre. I picked up an energy drink, got back, did some more prep, FaceTimed like loads of people to be like, distract me from what I'm about to go through tomorrow. Guys! It's happening. It's 7:52. My taxi will be arriving very shortly. This is the fit. I woke up at 6 AM. Okay, do you know what? My bangs are banging at an exceptional rate. Well, that was an interview. These lobster rolls. These lobster rolls. Interview panel, my interview panel was so friendly. Like, it was so friendly, smiling at me whilst I was giving my answers. They could do that to anyone. Like, maybe that's how they act regardless of how you're performing in the interview. I don't know. In terms of the questions, they were so hard. And I can't tell you guys like what they are because we're not allowed to share what they are, but they weren't what I prepared. Do you know what? I'm just really grateful that I got to the first place, the wrong place, really early. I got there at like 8:30 and registration was at 9:15. That was a 20-minute walk, but the lady was like, don't walk, it's all up here. She was like, try and order a taxi. So I called the taxi company and they were like, let me be real with you, we're not going to be able to get to you for half an hour. And I was like, okay, fuck this. So are you telling me I'm better off walking? And he was like, oh darling, I can't really say that, but yeah. And I was like, okay, thank you, I'll walk. So I walked. It was all uphill. I did turn up flustered. Like, when I show you guys, sweat patches this big. Okay, you guys, today is Friday. It's the next day. I didn't really vlog after I think the last time I vlogged yesterday was when I took myself out for lunch. I think I said it was a really stressful interview. The day was kind of stressful anyway, like being taken to the wrong place because like I gave the wrong address, and then getting there all like flustered and sweaty. It was just a stressful day start to finish. The interview, like I said, I can't say specific questions that came up, but there are like specific things you prepare to talk about in an interview, and they just didn't come up. So I just felt like there were loads of curveballs. Yeah, it was difficult. I de-stressed by taking myself out for lunch. I mooched around the shops, and you know, I FaceTimed and, you know, spoke to everyone after, just like, you know, because people were checking in on me. And I think I said, like, when I came, it's an interview where I have no idea how I actually did. Like, either I did terribly or I did amazingly. And I know that's not really a healthy way to think, because it was probably like there were some good parts and some bad parts. It genuinely just felt like one of those interviews where I don't know how I did. Whereas I've had interviews before where I've come out and I know that I've done well. So I'm kind of worried that I came out this interview like, you know, not really sure. And I feel like when you first come out of a situation like that, you're just glad that it's over. So I wasn't overthinking it too much. Like, when I came out, I couldn't even really remember the questions they'd asked me. I had to, before I left the building, I sat down and I tried to recall all the questions they asked me, and I wrote them down in my notes app. But I feel like when you first come out of an interview like that, for me, there was a lot of like self-compassion to myself. I was like, you know what, that was really bloody hard. At least I did it. At least, you know, being invited here was such an achievement in and of itself. Like, it's over, don't think about it now. But as the time has gone on, and I haven't been vlogging, but like last night and this morning, like, I just keep dwelling on the interview and picking myself apart, like remembering all the things that I said or did that I didn't like, or how I could have answered questions and I didn't. And I'm like remembering things like, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. And then I do sometimes, there are some things that are popping into my head like, oh, I'm glad I said that, oh, it's good I said that. So I just don't know. They're gonna let everyone know by the end of today. It's now like 10:30 in the morning, so we've still got like 6 hours or something of the day. They said everyone will be emailed of the outcome, but those who have an offer will also get a phone call. I'm very, very glad that we literally find out the next day, because like I said, I'm now in that stage after an interview where I'm dwelling on it, and I can't help but just pick myself apart. Like, I'm being very self-critical, and in a way it's good. I feel like I'm mentally prepared to be rejected now, you know. And I was, as soon as I came out that interview, I was like, chat, I'm not sure. Chat, I don't think I'm coming here in October. So I feel like I'm mentally prepared for anything. Well, I guess if I had like stuff booked in today, it would kind of make the day go faster and it would distract me. Whereas like, I don't technically have anything in my diary today. So I'm kind of just sat around like twiddling my thumbs, like, when is this email gonna come through? Everyone's like waiting on standby. Like, my dad's downstairs like, do you know yet? And I'm like, Dad, when I know, I will tell you when I know. Right now, all I'm doing is thinking back through the interview. And I'm not sat here trying to think about it. It's literally like I'm getting intrusive thoughts. like flashbacks to the interview, uninvited flashbacks, being like, oh, the way you said that was so shit, you should have said this, the way you answered this question was so shit, like all this negative self-talk. And it's like, until you get the feedback, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because they'll tell you in the feedback what was shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. The time is 4:05. I got the email at 4:45 that I have been put on the reserve list. Oh man! Now it's like I can't really just close it in my mind, you know, like it was a no. It's now like, oh, I could be offered a place if someone drops out. And they also didn't provide information on how many people are on this reserve list, where am I on this reserve list. I mean, I think it's just one reserve list, and if I'm like number 1, then I feel like, okay, maybe this could happen, but I have no idea. And then in terms of feedback, so I thought they'd include feedback in the email for my interview, or for interviews, but they offer like a phone call slot with someone who is on your interview panel. So I have to email them to confirm that I would like that phone call. And it would be either the 9th of May or the 14th of May. So both before my Bath interview, which is good. I feel exhausted is how I feel. I am disappointed. Obviously I wanted an offer. More pressure to do well on the Bath interview, but also more motivation as well to prepare better for the Bath interview and think about what I can do differently this time. Because my prep for Oxford was definitely not perfect. I mean, it was unhinged, guys. I was living off Monster energy drinks. I could have prepared way better, and now I've got just under 2 weeks to reflect and learn from this experience to try and get the best that I can out of the next interview. Okay guys, so I'm gonna end this vlog here. But I think my closing sort of comments, I think my sense is that with the interview prep for Oxford, I prioritised the wrong things. So I think I over prioritised my knowledge and thinking about what questions could come up and what answers I would give. And I think I underprepared on just the practice element. So mock interviews are so important, and I knew that mock interviews were something that people recommended while preparing, and I didn't do a mock interview in preparation for the Oxford one. I did meet with one of the psychologists I work with as like, not as a mock interview, but as a reflective space. I think that's what I need practice on for the Bath one, is trying to get some mock interviews in. I think I underestimated how much I needed to practice that, because I regard myself as someone who does well in interviews. Like, historically, every AP job I've interviewed for, I've got. Maybe that was just like luck, or maybe AP interviews are different to doctorate interviews.